SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, coming in live from the lab on a gorgeous, chilly, actually, I forgot to put on my ski hat that I was wearing earlier, but it's a gorgeous, chilly night here in the studio, end of 2017. And it's commemorating a couple things. Number one is, it was a year ago, the whole crew and I got together and we said, yeah, we want to do something different. So we're celebrating 12 months of chiming that in. Awesome. Yeah, let's just clap that in. Let's clap that in. That's big. I also want to commemorate the fact that one of our guests that came on the show initially when we put this whole production together, not only did she transform her life, but she traveled to different shores and she's back tonight to share and update us on where she is. So like I normally start the show, let me just go back and want to give a big round of applause to everybody that's here. Thank you to Manny behind the camera. Big shout out to Rob, Ellie holding us down on the south. Thank you so much, man, for being here. Big shout out to Charles, helping us out with everything that's here and being a part of the team. You know, the team has definitely grown and expanded to put some talented people on board. But tonight, I want to take this moment to lift this green bottle that I'm holding, the Heineken bottle, and toast to my guest. Salute. Cheers. Jennifer Lynn. Thank you so much for being in the house.
Thank you for having me.
She has traveled to South Africa. She has visited and been working with kids teaching English in Limpopo.
Yes.
Bing, I got it right.
You did.
Yeah, in South Africa. And we spoke about this before you left. So let's just bring our guests up to date. Refresh them on who you are.
So I am Jennifer Lynn from New Jersey, from Montclair before I moved. But I joined the Peace Corps. And I am serving in rural South Africa now.
Rural.
Yes. So I left in July, and I probably was on the podcast around that time.
Yes, you were.
And so I've been there now for almost 6 months, and I just came home for the holidays to surprise my family, and I'll be going back on Thursday to continue my service.
Okay, so to put things in perspective, you came home last week.
Yes.
You spent a few days here. Today's Tuesday, the 26th.
Yes.
And you're leaving Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes.
We are honored to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm so honored to be here.
To be here and spread those. So I wanted to go in and dissect a little bit, because the last time we spoke, you were ready for that transition. Now you've been in rural South Africa for a year.
Yes.
Let's go back to the beginning. So you leave the United States. What was that process like, getting through the airports, flying? What was that?
Even the packing was stressful because you could only take 2 50-pound bags.
And you're gone for 2 years.
Yeah, like I literally sold or gave away everything I own. Like I don't have anything here.
You know what? I wanted to salute you.
I'm borrowing my mom's boots. Like I have nothing. I had nothing because it's so hot there. Like I wasn't prepared for the cold.
No, that's big. No, that's big, because I think one of the things I've always spoken about with you was the fact that you just completely shed yourself of all the materialistic things here to jump on that journey.
Yes. So I could only bring 2 suitcases, 50 pounds, and I had to keep on weeding it out, like leading up to the day of leaving. And it was like, they also, when you arrive, take one of them and don't give it back to you till the end of training, because it's too much to, like, it's hard to maneuver big suitcases in rural South Africa on the taxis and stuff.
Yeah.
So to make it easier for us, so we had to like pack everything that we thought we would need for the first 10 weeks, but how do we know what we need? It was like a puzzle packing for this thing, like to get rid of stuff. Also, they told you to like bring nice clothes, because in South Africa, even in rural South Africa, they get very dressed up for work.
What?
Like South Africans are sharp.
Bo.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they like very fashionable.
Okay.
And so they made sure we had like nice business casual clothes. So there's like so many things to think about. And but whatever, I made it there, and through the airport, it was exciting. I mean, you're like in a big group, like, because we first went to Philly and did this thing called staging. It was 2 days, and it was where all 40 volunteers from all over the U.S. come together and meet, and some Peace Corps people like run us through like training
like
or workshops, like just those 2 days. Like it was mostly stuff about Peace Corps as an organization, not Peace Corps South Africa.
Okay.
So it was like going over the mission, the values, like how we envision our experience to be, like just to get us thinking. And then we flew all together from JFK to Johannesburg.
Wow.
Yes.
And I remembered you commenting on Facebook that you were in Johannesburg for like 2 months.
Not Joburg, no. So the Peace Corps, it's like 27 months, and 2 years of it is service. So the first 3 are called what's called pre-service training, and it's called PST. So you basically for 10 weeks like live with a family, and it's not Johannesburg, but it's like a couple hours out. So now I'm like even 8 hours from Johannesburg where I live, because now I'm in the rural area. But where we did this training, it was just like this whirlwind of intensive like preparation for the service, which I realized like the Peace Corps is an amazing organization. Like they really, really try to set you up for success in your service. So we would take like intensive language classes. We were assigned a language to learn, because then we were placed in villages, and they're all different. There's 11 official languages.
What?
Yes, in South Africa, and they all represent like English and Afrikaans, but the rest are all native languages represented in the fact that they're official languages is pretty amazing.
I can't even imagine how they communicate. So just to get a little macro on your journey through this mission that you're on.
Yeah.
So you land in Johannesburg. You go to your host family.
Yeah, they pick us up right away and take us to this this teacher's college that's not open anymore.
Right.
And for 10 days we had what was called orientation. It was, we were basically in this this bubble of this little place for 10 days. It's just like so much information throwing at you. What is it going to be like?
What was the weather like?
It was winter when I got there. Now it's summer. It's opposite.
Okay.
So southern hemisphere.
So yeah.
And it was beautiful, but it gradually over July, because I got there July 12th, I think, or 13th, and over July and into August, it did get chilly. Like there were days where you needed a sweater.
Okay.
In the mornings, but then when the sun would come out, the sun was really strong, and it would be beautiful and hot in the sun. So and then it started to already like September 1st. There's like the beginning of summer, they say. It really isn't much of a spring, but it pretty much started to get hot around then. And now where I live, it's the hottest part of the country.
Oh, sweet. So I want to get our listeners slowly to that town. So you land in Johannesburg. You're a couple hours out, which is where you're being acclimated to. What was the food like?
The food is
there in the part.
Village.
Yeah.
Not because in the cities it's just like here. It's just like the U.S.
Okay.
Like in cities in South Africa, but in the rural areas there's a staple food. It's called pap. It's spelled P-A-P, but it's pronounced
P-O-P. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like basically it's like polenta in Italian cuisine, or like grits, in the South.
Yeah.
Because it's maize meal or cornmeal and water, and they eat it with every meal.
Okay.
And they don't eat with utensils, so they use it as a utensil. So they make it like it's like polenta, but you were used to polenta and grits being creamy. They put more maize meal in it and make it very stiff. And you like pull it off with your hands, and then you eat the other things on the plate with it. So
for you, that adjustment to that, what was that like? Was it something that you're like, this is pretty good, I could eat this?
Yeah, I happen to like it, but there are volunteers that are like over it because they serve it all the time. But I miss it right now. Like I know when I go back, I keep maize meal in my house there so I can make it at home, because I do like it. Because I eat it every day at lunch with the teachers.
Yeah, you got really acclimated to the whole. Yeah, that's big.
It's like, what it is? It's like they even make their own maize meal. It's like this whole process, amazing. The family I live with, they grow their own corn, which is being planted now. In March, they'll harvest it and they'll put it somewhere for the rest of the year to dry it out, and then they throughout the year they'll pop the kernels off the dried ears of corn and bring those kernels to the communal mill in the village and make maize meal, and then use that throughout the year to cook this staple food. Which is I think that's their rights. That's what it sounds like. Exactly.
So
exactly.
What's so interesting is you completely surrendered everything, go to this foreign country, then you go rural. And let's discuss that a little bit. Let's get them a taste of your transformation from Montclair, New Jersey, to this village. And the name of the village is Limpopo.
No, the province is Limpopo. Okay. There's 9 provinces. We have states. So it's an area in the very northeastern corner of the country.
What's the transportation like to get there?
I would take a bus from the city, just because you can put your bags under, and that. From Johannesburg is probably 8 hours by taxi or bus. And the taxis are vans.
Okay.
So that's what I use usually, but it's like they won't go anywhere unless they fill up. So like sometimes you'll be like to go to the grocery store.
That's how we do it in Jamaica.
Yeah, like you could be waiting like for 2 hours just for it to fill, and then you go and it's another hour and a half.
Wow.
But it's fine. That's what I love about the life there, because with no running water or things like that, it's like it's slower. Like it takes more time to do things. Like to get out of the house in the morning just takes more time because I have to go get water and bring it back, or like clean out the buckets that I wash dishes and things like that. So it takes getting used to, but for me it's freeing. I mean, for some people it might be too difficult.
Wow, that was very profound, actually.
Yeah.
You preempted.
Did I drop a jewel?
You just dropped a jewel because you moved me there, because as I'm thinking, you leaving the convenience of what we have here, where you walk right to the bathroom, boom.
Don't get me wrong, no indoor plumbing is kind of hard. That's like the worst part of the Peace Corps, like having to go use an outside toilet. It's not, I don't care going outside, but like the one at my house is like scary. So that is hard, but I mean, hey, it's part of it.
No, I really saluted you on embracing that challenge of going to get your water and have to really transitioning to that.
Yeah.
So let's just fast forward to you get to the village the first day.
Yes.
The first day. What were you thinking?
It's scary. You're like, what did I just sign up for?
Talk to me.
I mean, the one good thing about my experience was that where we were for the first 2.5 months was completely different, like in terms of landscape and everything, from where I am now. And where I live, I feel so blessed because only 13 of us got sent to this corner of the province.
Okay.
Called Venda. And it's like a little Garden of Eden. It's like so green and lush because it rains a lot.
Yeah.
And it's mountains, and in the yard there's lychee trees, mango.
Yeah, we call them lychee in Jamaica.
Oh, okay,
I love lychee.
Those, avocado, orange in my yard, mango.
That's how we do it. Yeah.
Banana. And so where I was, it's like they call it Bushveld, the landscape there, and it's just dusty and flat.
Okay.
There's some mountains, but not big. But it's beautiful still. But that's why, so even though I was like nervous to arrive in the village, I still rolled up there like, oh my God, this place is beautiful. Like it was like so enchanting, like to now be in this, like, because it really does feel like it's stuck in time. Even though there are people with modern amenities, it's not all huts, and there is poverty. But like what I see in South Africa is that once the children grow, they go to the cities to find work and send money back home. So the families, even in the villages, are starting to build their homes up, things like that. So, but even just I'm sure from back home, like, the women carry things on their heads, like they bathe outside or they do laundry in the river and cook over fire, even though they have a kitchen inside. So it's like amazing in that way. It's like there's a lot of culture. It's
so fascinating, and I can tell by the energy that everything that you're telling me, the difference in the way things were ran and the experiences, you've completely embraced it. And I know you long enough where if you were like, oh my God, I had to readjust to this thing. And by the way, let me compliment you on that great necklace you're wearing.
Oh, thank you. This is Zulu, everybody.
Zulu.
This is the Zulu culture. This is like a necklace they wear. And I just love it.
Okay, so we
for special occasions.
Squirrel Rosenberg Podcast, another jewel just dropped. She came prepared to let us know exactly what's going on.
Gotta represent my new home.
Of course. So, as we take this quick break, I just want to, close with this. Everything you've told me, you've embraced it. When we come back, and it's going to be a quick break. When we come back, I want to dab into, your first meeting of the family, going to school to teach, and that whole transition. SQR Podcast, Jennifer Kunto, coming straight from South Africa, Limpopo, the province. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Take
a quick break. We'll be back right after these messages. One. Squirrel Rosenberg Podcast, SQR. As a matter of fact, let me get that back and pull that back. Let me start this right. SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, back in the house with Jennifer Lynn, reminiscing and really getting into the whole depth of the cultural change and the adaptation to that whole new lifestyle.
Yes.
And we left off at the necklace, and I know Manny was able to get a good shot of that necklace because it is gorgeous, and you are wearing it beautifully.
Thank you.
So let's just get back into, you walk into the village the first day, right? You meet your host family. You find out where you're living. You're like, oh shit, what did I sign up for?
Yes.
Continue.
Well, because the first place I went when I first got there, I was living in a home with just one older woman, like a grandmother. It was just me and her. I had my own. It's like you have your own structure on their property or something like that.
Oh, sweet.
You're not in the house with them.
Okay.
The family I lived with for the first 2.5 months, that it was like that, where I had a bedroom in their house. So I was like in their house with them, using their bathroom and whatever. But then when I went to my site, my permanent site where I'll serve for 2 years, I have my own home on the property.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, that day, because I've since moved, now I'm in a new house.
Okay.
But it's the same village, and yeah, it's very rural, and you're just you're just thinking like, wow, what did I sign up for? But it's beautiful because, in the first home I went to that day, my principal is the one who took me to meet her. Okay. And when we sat inside, she gave us like something to eat, like an ear of corn steamed. Yeah. And you just like, it's like, it's like a common like snack there. Okay. They call it chicoli. And chicoli. It's like these huge ears of corn, and it's different. The corn there is like very dry because they dry it out after they harvest it. So you just like eat this ear of corn, and
you got all the shit in your teeth.
Yeah, it's just so funny. But no, it's like it's not the same as ours here. It doesn't like, it's like dry, it like pops off the the cob. Yeah, clean. It doesn't like have the juice in it like here. Okay. So interesting. But that was what I remember. That was like the first thing when I came, she gave us this corn to eat, and then one of the 7th grade girls, she's a neighbor, she came to the house to greet me so we could walk to school together the next day. Oh, sweet. And in the culture where I live, the women like lie down on the floor. Hold up. To greet.
Let's pull that up real quick. The women lie down.
Yes, on the floor to greet men and elderly in the culture.
Can I get you out of your comfort zone if you don't mind?
And do it?
Yeah, could you please?
I can do it.
Yeah, my guys, could you really get the camera around here? Could you just do it right here real quick and show? So I'm going to walk up, and then you're going to greet, because as the male, you have to greet me, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
so you can sit right there, and I'll walk up and greet you.
Okay, please. Okay, fine. Do I have to fold my hands like Kim Tube?
So the women literally like lay on the floor like this, and they put their hands like this, and their head down. And that's how a man and an elderly person is greeted in the culture. So that day, I was not that I was so elderly, but my host mother is an older woman, and my principals are respected, in the village because of her position. Yeah. And a 7th grade girl came by, and when she came in the house, she did that to greet us. It just like surreal.
What was it like the first time you saw it? Because right now you're just like.
My language teacher in the months leading up did tell us that that's the greeting. Okay. Because our language teachers were called language and cultural facilitators. So their job was to teach us our language, but they are also a resource for us in the culture. So they are from that part of the country. In Venda, they're from that culture. They know.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So my host father is a teacher at my school. He's retiring soon, but he's been there for 36 years, and he's like very well respected. He was born and raised in this village, and every day I thought at first it was weird. I have to be honest. Like I didn't ever judge. So what I'm saying is all the young girls and women, grown women, not teachers, but other women, like the women that cook the food for the school. When him and I get there early, and all of them come and greet him when they arrive at school throughout the morning, and like do that. They lay on the floor and greet him like that.
Is that done every time he walks into the room, or is just
No,
done
just
like
in the morning. Although, in the rural areas, even though there's municipalities and this government structure that's modern, they still have what they call tribal authority in the villages, and there's a chief who oversees this whole area, and then there's like headmen in the villages. So the Peace Corps requires that we meet these people so they know that we're there, and so when we had to meet him, it was actually, there's 9 Americans in what they call a circuit, like of schools, like a school system. So that this circuit, there's 9 of us, and so together all of those principals organized that we go on the same day to meet this chief. He's like 24 years old.
The chief is 24
years
old.
Yeah, his father passed away like within the year. Now he's the chief. It's like crazy, but it's awesome. And while we were there, like the bowing and the getting on the floor, like it was. I couldn't understand everything that was being said because it was in that language, but it was like whenever something was said, like all the women would get down on the floor and the men would like do this other thing they do. And then we did it like many times throughout this meeting, and I didn't know what was being said that we had to do it again.
It blows
but with my host father, it was like the first time. Even my host brother has a girlfriend that comes to the house sometimes, and she will get down on the floor to greet my host father, the father of her boyfriend.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's interesting. It's amazing. I mean, I look at it like fascinating, and I see that they feel like it's a beautiful thing. It's not demeaning to women.
I was going to ask you that.
But there are some American volunteers that get bothered by stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, because coming from a culture where it's actually so well aware of the contribution of women.
Because there are female volunteers that like think it's insane. They get mad, but it's not. I don't look at it that way because I know that they're proud. Like my students, when they knew I was going to meet the chief, one of the girls was like, "You must greet him like this." And she showed me and laid down on the floor.
Wow.
They are not feeling demeaned by it. They enjoy the respect they're giving, they're showing to whoever it is.
That's big. What's so funny is when you mentioned the young lady who came over to greet you so that you could walk to school with her the next day.
Yes.
Can I ask you what that experience was like? So you wake up the next morning.
I was nervous.
I want to go. Yes, yeah. I want to walk through this if you don't mind.
Yeah, I woke up the next day.
What time did you have to be at school?
At 7
in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she came to fetch me. That's how they say it. They fetch. And
what time did you get up?
I think I got up early. I was nervous. It was my first day, and
you had to go outside to take a shower, brush your teeth.
No, I had to heat up the water. So on that day, I stayed inside the main house with my host mother because they had to fix the lock on the door of my house. So she has running water inside.
Okay.
And but to take a bath, you need to heat the water up and then pour it in the bathtub and then bathe like that.
Okay.
So so I did that. The reason I describe it is because where I live now, there's no running water.
That's why I wanted to go in. I want people to understand, what you're dealing with here.
Bucket. So anyway, I got up.
Breakfast?
Yeah, I got ready. I didn't really eat any breakfast that day. And I walked to school with the kids, and it was the very last day of term 3, which is like the third marking period.
Okay, how far was it?
Their school breaks like in between each term. They go all year. And how far was it to school? It was only like 7 minutes. Just walking. Like it wasn't far at all.
Okay.
Now where I live, I'm far out of the village. I had to move because there was a tavern across the street that was like blasting music like till all hours. Like it was crazy. So the Peace Corps was like, no, you can't live there for 2 years like that.
What kind of music was it, by the way?
It was like popular South African house and like hip hop and stuff. Like South African music is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard a couple of those beats on SoundCloud the other day, and it was bananas.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like a reggae undertone, strong, based, and that European,
and the drums.
thump. Yeah, the drums are big on that.
It's awesome, and then the fact that they sing and rap in their own languages. Like it sounds.
It just rides right on top of the. Yeah, we're deviating, but I just wanted to dabble into what you were listening to as you were annoyed trying to get to sleep.
Because music's a big part of my experience there, so it's I'm loving the music scene.
Oh wow! So back into school. So you get to school 7 minutes away.
So that first day, I mean, the principal basically asked me to start teaching like all the classes. Then we're supposed to use that first 3 months as like an integration period to observe, and we have to do this community assessment.
Not teach right away. And so from the first day I started teaching, and at first I was like overwhelmed. I was like, that's when you go through waves where you're like so excited about everything you're learning, and then there's days where you're like, when you think about 2 years, you're like, what did I sign up for? Although now, with having almost 6 months, like, and it went like that. Like 2 years to me doesn't sound overwhelming anymore. It never is.
Because like in another 6 months, it's going to pass like that.
It never is. You're
and
right.
Then I'm a year in. Yeah. So, because it will end one day, so I want to like cherish it now and not feel like
another jewel being dropped.
Yes.
Yeah. Another jewel being dropped. So you know what's so funny? You know, as you were elaborating on that whole experience, I love walking with you through this, because I'm asking you these questions because I'm mentally being in that classroom with you.
Yeah.
So now you're in front of the kids.
Yes. So the kids are awesome. I mean, they're so excited to have you there, and you know, try to speak English with you, and the levels are all over the place, but the kids are like the best. They like, you know, even when it's difficult, like at night when you go home and you think about these kids, it's like it's amazing, you know. But the tough class I had was grade 7, because in that class there were 2 boys that were 19 and one that was 18. And they're in class with like 13-year-olds. Like, they kept getting left back because I guess because they weren't passing any of their classes, not just English. So they at first were like, I guess because they were so old, they didn't feel good. They would try to like act up and be funny. And, you know, after a while I was able to like get them to, you know, be cool at least in class. Like, I don't expect them if they already failed. Like, I was only with them the last marking period. So anyway, that was like a challenge at first, but no, I mean, you know what it is? They use corporal punishment there, and we as Peace Corps volunteers don't. It's illegal, but it's used in the rural areas.
So just to break it down for everybody who don't really understand corporal punishment, it means they will spank your ass in class.
In class with a stick.
Yep, Jamaican style.
Yes.
With
most of the world style.
Yeah.
Most of the world. I got beat with a wooden spoon from my mom.
You know what I mean? So you know that's
Yeah.
that's what I tell you need. So they implement that, and you guys can do that.
Yeah, we don't do this. So then, of course, there's also like then the level of like kids knowing that. So and they actually at least they feel, and the parents will ask the teachers like, if the kid's being bad, the parents will be like, beat him. You know what I mean? It's different than here. The kids, you know, so you need to use other forms of like behavior, incentives and things, like, because you're not going to be hitting them. But actually my age is an advantage for me, because most of the Peace Corps volunteers are right out of college. And I think because of my age, like I have some more respect of my colleagues and of the kids, because they value age in those cultures.
Wow. Big.
Yeah.
Squirrel Rosenberg Podcast, SQR. As we kick back and just really dabble in that whole transition, you know, I'm very curious to find out, you know, the extracurricular activities that they're into on the weekends, you know, what they do, how you assimilated to that now that you're 6 months in. And as you go through the first week of school, what was 2 things that really stood out to you about that first week?
Well, the schools are like so under-resourced. Like the school situation there it's like completely different from here. I mean, I don't know in very like, you know, urban areas here, maybe like under-resourced schools. Like, I haven't been to them, but they're like, all the windows are broken, like the desks are broken. Like it's just, you know, a square of a room with like peeling paint, and it's like, you know, it's like the most like blah like place to be all day for a kid. And but you know, that's it, that's what we have, and that's where, you know, I take them outside a lot, but I mean, like, you just have a chalkboard. There's no technology, there's no smart board, there's no, you know, all the stuff that's here. So it makes it like harder to teach, but it's a challenge, but it's good.
No, I salute you. I salute you. It's admirable.
I mean, so even though there's no electricity in some of the villages, they still have cell phone towers. So I still have like, I'm able to like research online and like use my internet like on my phone to like help me teach, because there's no, you know, there are like workbooks for the kids. but in everything else, they don't have everything that we have here.
Let me ask you this: you finish your first week, you go back. Of course, you've been going back and forth, assimilating with the family, getting comfortable. Your weekend comes up. What's the extracurricular activities like?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, when I'm in the village, I'm like not really like on the weekend. I might go to the villages. You can't buy much in there. They have small shops, with like bread, eggs, whatever. So to get to an area with a grocery store, you'll go for like an hour and a half on the taxi, and so sometimes us volunteers will like meet up in that town. There is a hotel there that has, like an outdoor area, like a restaurant that we can like use the Wi-Fi, things like that. But I mean, beyond that, there's not much to be done. Like unless we, like I say, we plan to meet together, like and eat something like in one of the larger towns.
What's a Sunday like?
Everybody goes to church. I've gone, but I don't go every weekend. I'll go with the families that I've met. But that's the big thing on Sunday. It's
and
like
what's the prominent religion there?
Christian. Yes, it's a very Christian country. Even in school, like there's morning assembly with prayer and.
Oh, it's straight Jamaica. Yo, this is straight Jamaica style. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's some native religions like practiced.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly Christian. There's a lot of different types and sectors or whatever.
Yeah.
Sects. But yeah, they're very Christian.
Wow.
Yes.
Jennifer Lynn, SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. We're kicking back, just recapping on her assimilation and contribution to Limpopo, South Africa.
Yes, got it.
Teaching in the bush, as they would say. Dealing with, the massive cockroaches, cockroaches, as we kick back here. We'll take a quick break, come back, wrap up with her, and she's going to be flying back on Thursday.
Yes.
And you're dying to get back to that. What's the correct name of that food?
Pop?
The pop.
Yes.
Yeah, if you have it here, you're going to make it first before you go.
All right, I will.
Squirrel Rosenberg Podcast, Jennifer Lynn. We'll be back after these messages. One. SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, coming in with our friend, our international connect, Jennifer Lynn. Yeah, for real.
Thank you so much.
You've
so happy.
I really have to follow up with a lot of my other guests, and you're the first guest we've really followed up on who's ventured on this Columbus type vision. For real. You went to foreign lands and discovered new experiences. And I salute you for, number one, relinquishing all connection, both, family, material, job, and just said, I'm going to go surf. That has been a major highlight or major cool point. Yeah. And the fact that you didn't go somewhere, convenient like the Bahamas, Jamaica, right. You went to South Africa. To be specific, the province of Limpopo, South Africa.
That's how they say yes.
Give me a high five on it.
That's how they say yes.
That's how they say yes. We're gonna start using that on SQR Podcast right now. Every time you hear me say "hey," you know what's up. And you really went and got into the bush.
Yes. Rural area, deep rural.
Surrounded by mango, lychee. I'm sure some avocados are out there.
Yes, on my property, on the yard.
Living with a host family, just really acclimating. So off camera, we were talking, and you'd mentioned before when you first got back on and we saw you, that the host mom is walking around with no bra on.
Yeah.
What's going on with
The
that?
older women there, like that's normal. Like they don't sexualize the breasts, I guess, because like I have host brothers. So I'm like walking around.
So,
but she'll just stand there talking to me like, yeah, with no top on.
No top on.
No, because it's only when she's going to bathe. And they made this area outside that's like an outdoor shower, but it's not. Like they have a bucket there. They'll put water in the bucket and they'll like bathe outside, but it's not completely closed. And my host father will do it at night, which is great. But my host mother will do it at any time of the day and like walk up and talk to me like on her way there, like with just a towel around her waist.
and you gotta just say eye focus.
Yes.
Nice.
But
nice.
yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's like awkward at first, but it's like, okay, whatever.
You know, we were also, you know, just having a great session, and you were mentioning the fact that you're excited to go back.
I am. Yeah.
Build on that.
It's such a different way to live, but for me, like, it's freeing, you know? It's like just simple. You know, and I can be with other Americans if I want to.
Yeah.
But even that, like, I try not to overdo it. Like, you know, like a lot of the other volunteers will get together every weekend, and I think it's important to stay in your village as well and like connect with those people.
Can I
And
ask?
not always run away.
Can I ask? And now, if you could, you know, you've been here for 6 months, so you have somewhat of a semi-retrospective vision now. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this: what is it about that culture, simplicity of that culture, that's attracting?
I mean, South Africa is such a complex country in its history, and it's like, so for so many reasons, it's like amazing to be amongst these people who survived apartheid, which only ended like 20 years ago.
Well,
and there's
yeah,
just
yeah.
such like happy people and welcoming and warm and embracing like a white person, you know, it's like, it's amazing.
No, I big you up for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. I also wanted to just, you know, as we get ready to really prepare for the next 6 months. It's actually a year and 6 months because you got 2 years to.
Well, a total of 27 months. So September of 2019 is when I'm done.
You said it here. You were so ready to go back, to get re-submerged.
Well, it's going to be gradual because I'm first going to Johannesburg for New Year's Eve.
Let's don't get it twisted. And that's, as a matter of fact, let's just really think about this, and we can Google this and confirm this.
So I'm going to ease into that South African life again.
Yeah, but if I'm
After
not
being
mistaken,
here.
when the New Year transition happens around the world, I'm pretty sure you guys get it before we do.
We do. 7 hours before.
Wow.
I'll already be stepping into 2018 by the time you hit midnight.
That's going to be big.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's going to be big.
Yeah.
That's going to be big.
Yeah, so I'll stay there for a few days and then I'll head up to my village. So like 8 hours away.
Nice. The students that you're making an impact on, you know, we looked at a video earlier of the dance.
Yes.
And you mentioned there's this young girl who was so shy and came out of her shell and did the salute.
Yes.
You know?
The cultural dances. Every culture in South Africa, and I'm sure on the whole continent really, or anywhere, there's traditional cultures, but they have their, you know, dances, their costume, like their dress, and I'll send you some pictures.
Please do.
Like you can see my host mother came home from a party one day and she's like wearing the minwenda, it's what they call it. It's like a traditional
Minwenda.
Yes, and it's particular print on the material, like, you know, it's the Venda culture.
Okay.
The jewelry they wear and everything, they're all different. So but the dances for Venda, I asked the kids one day, like, when I first got there, because I had seen some of the other dances of other cultures, and the kids got together after school because they learn these dances from when they're babies, like 3 years old or whatever, and they know the drum beats, the chants, the dances, and there's different ones for every occasion. Like at Christmas, there's a special dance they do that's for Christmas time.
Let me ask you this, and I'm so fascinated by how immersed you are in culture, in lifestyle and the acceptance of that lifestyle. So let me ask you this, as we get ready to close. So you're now, my listeners got a chance to hear your podcast before you left. They're now hearing you 6 months in, and the excitement in your voice and the passion in your voice. If there was something you could say to someone listening to this podcast about surrendering, serving, and giving, what would it be?
I feel like even, especially in this way where not everyone can immerse themselves in another culture and do it for this length of time. So I think service in any capacity is good. But like I feel like it's a gift you're giving to yourself and then to the people around you, because you'll share the culture, to immerse yourself in a new culture and meet a new culture of people that's different from yours, and do it in a way that's serving. Like that experience, I feel like, is so profound, and that's why, I love being there and learning how other people live. Like the world doesn't revolve around us, so yeah, I would say but of course, if all you can do, it's about serving mostly. So if all you can do is something short term or for a weekend or anything, I think serving is it's life changing.
Could you please let my listeners know how they could follow you, how they could be a part of your experience in the province of Limpopo, South Africa?
On Instagram, it's Jennifer with 2 N's 4578, and I post about my journey and write informational stuff about what I'm seeing, so that gives some context. And then on Facebook, it's Jennifer Lynn, Lynn.
Okay.
And I guess you would say Peace Corps after it if you're searching that, because I think there's a bunch of Jennifer Lynns.
Okay. SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Phenomenal catch up with our guest, Jennifer DeCunto. Thank you so much for being here and sharing.
Squirrel.
And it's like, we dreamt about this conversation, because I said I want to keep in touch with you, and you've been so active. Manny's been keeping in touch with you on the Facebook and monitoring. You show that burger or that, what was that called?
The bacon, egg, and cheese on everything bagel, salt, pepper, ketchup.
That's the first thing you ordered when you touched down in the US. But
I had to.
I want my listeners to realize that here's a young lady who is doing what people talk about.
So I have to thank you in Chivenda, the language that I'm studying.
Okay, if you're going to do that, guys, make sure we get this camera. Hold up, before you do that, get the camera off. Get that camera off the rack over here. She's about to.
I was just going to greet you, do a thank you, greeting like that, to greet you.
Okay.
And
so what's the male reciprocation of that greeting?
The males, they put their hands like this, and they just say Inda. That's
okay,
what they say.
let's do this the right way.
Yeah. So a woman says to a man, like hello, and your response is Enda. Okay. But I would do that. I would say
Enda.
Exactly. Good.
Bong, bong, bong.
Yes.
Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, SQR Podcast. Jennifer DeCunto going back to South Africa on Thursday. Yo, look at a lady changing lives. Change yours. 1.
Thank you.
Bong, bong, bong.
Bro, there's money to be made.